Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Practical English 2. Today, we're going to learn Unit 10, and we're going to put all the skills that we've learned in the last 4 units together as we prepare for our final exam. So let's review. In this unit, we're going to talk about experiences and desires, preferences, likes and dislikes, comparatives and superlatives, asking for and giving advice, asking for and giving opinions, and we're going to talk about opened and closed questions using if. So let's talk about experiences. When we talk about experiences, we use the present perfect verb tense. We say, have you ever, and then we use the past participle. So, can I say, have you ever go backpacking? No. Go is the bare infinitive. I would say, have you ever gone backpacking? Remember, go changes to went in the simple past and gone in the past participle. All right, you guys are doing a great job. So I said, have you ever gone backpacking? You can say, yes, I have gone backpacking, or no, I've never gone backpacking. We can't say, I have ever gone backpacking. We can only use ever when we're asking a question. And we can say never when we're talking about a negative statement, but we don't use ever with positive statements. I also can't say, I have gone backpacking last year. When I use time expressions, I have to remember to use the simple past tense. I would say, I went backpacking last year. So let's talk about the present perfect with time expressions. Here on our timeline, I see right now, and here is last March. Now, this is the time from March until now. I have been a university student since March. I use since with that point in time. Or I can say I have been a university student for 9 months. That tells the length of time that I've been a university student. When I'm talking about a time that's recent, like last week, I use just. I say, I have just finished the textbook. I have already started preparing for the final exam. Now, next week, something hasn't happened yet. I would say, have you taken the exam yet? I would say, no, I haven't taken the exam yet. You can look at Unit 6 and 9 for more information on using the present perfect verb tense. So let's talk about preferences. I like going mountain biking. I like going sailing. I prefer going mountain biking because it's easier. When I talk about something that I prefer, that means I like it more. Would you rather go mountain biking or go sailing? Interesting. Okay. I'd rather go mountain biking because it's easier. When you ask someone, would you rather, you're asking them about what they prefer. You can refer to Unit 6 for more on preferences. So let's talk about comparatives. When we're comparing two things, we take the first thing we're comparing, the verb to be, the comparative adjective, the word then, and then the second thing I'm comparing. When I have one syllable adjectives, I simply add ER. The cat is smaller than the dog. When I have two syllables, I use more plus the adjective. The smart TV is more expensive than the e-reader. And when I have two syllable adjectives ending in ly, I change the y to I and add er. My teacher is friendlier than your teacher. We can also use not as, blank as, and less when we're comparing things. I can say the cat is friendlier than the dog, or the dog is not as friendly as the cat. That's the same thing. Another way I can say that is the dog is less friendly than the cat. All right, you guys are doing a great job. Let's talk about superlatives. Jay is easygoing. Joe is strict. Joe is stricter than Jay. That's a comparative sentence. Paul is strictest. So I would say Paul is the strictest teacher. You can refer to Unit 8 for more on comparatives and superlatives. When we talk about giving advice, we use expressions like you should, you shouldn't, if I were you, I'd, and why don't you? I have a headache. What should I do? If I were you, I'd take some aspirin. You can also say, you should take some aspirin, or why don't you take some aspirin? If you have a headache, you shouldn't listen to loud music. You can refer to Unit 7 for more on asking for, and giving advice. Now let's talk about opinions. An opinion is someone's view on a subject based on their understanding and their feelings. Who do you think is the greatest rock band? When I ask who do you think or what do you think, I'm asking for your opinion. You can say, I think Pearl Jam is the greatest rock band, or in my opinion, or if you ask me. If you want to state your opinion very strongly, you can say, without a doubt. Opinions can be agreed with. For example, if you ask me, Son Heung-min is the most useful football player. You can agree by saying, I think so too. Me too. Or I agree. Or opinions can be disagreed with. In my opinion, Pearl Jam is the greatest rock band. Really? If you ask me, the Beatles are the greatest. Or, no way, Pearl Jam is much better. You can refer to Unit 8 for more on expressing opinions. Let's talk about statements with if. We use if statements to imagine real events under certain conditions. I am healthy now. I don't have a headache. If I had a headache, I would take some aspirin. If you have a headache, you should take some aspirin. Or you can say, if I were you, I'd take some aspirin. We can also use these to talk about imagined unrealistic events under certain conditions. For example, winning the lottery. I'm not rich now. I hardly ever buy lottery tickets. If I won $1 billion, I would travel the world. Winning $1 billion is unrealistic. It's possible, but it's not realistic. If my best friend could meet anybody, he'd meet Elvis. That's an impossible, unrealistic situation. If I could buy any gadget, I'd buy an e-reader. If and or could expresses the condition and would expresses the intention or what you want to do. Let's talk about questions with if. We use this to imagine unrealistic events under certain conditions. If you won $1 billion, what would you do first? If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, who would it be? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? If and could express the condition, and would expresses the action, what you're going to do. So let's talk about some follow-up questions using would, and this is important for your speaking test. If I had $1 billion, the first thing I do is travel the world. Let's think about follow-up questions. There are open questions like, why would you do that first? Or, where would you go first? Or, Who would you go with? We can also ask closed or yes or no questions. Would you quit your job? Would you go to Hawaii first? Would you take your family? And you can answer by saying, yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't. Just make sure you answer in a complete sentence. So remember, everything we learned might be on our speaking test, so you can use all those things. Review units 6 to 10 to prepare for that final exam. Good luck.